What's up guys, Riley here, and today we're going to be taking a look at our custom 3500 dually build. Alrighty, so as you can see, we have this beautiful 3500 Duramax right here in front of y'all. And so far this has been a pretty fun build. It has taken a little bit of work to get it to the point we're at right now. I think we still have a few things that we can tweak, mess around and such. But let's go ahead and get into what we've done with it. So for starters, this body is off a Big Country Toys. It's just a regular roll around truck. I actually have the chassis right here for it. So that's all that was there. And I think it was about $30, so not bad for a hard body this detailed. So see it here, it's 20th scale. Got your bow tie there. I think we're going to paint the front end a little bit with some black paint, just to kind of distinguish some of the things in it, just so that it's not all chrome like that. But yeah, it's got rubber mirrors, tow mirrors. They look pretty good. I like that they're on there and that they're rubber, so if you do hit anything, they don't come off or break. The next thing is the body is two pieces. The cab and then the bed. The bed opens. Takes a little bit of force, surprisingly, for a kid's toy. But it's got a gooseneck hitch in it for the gooseneck trailer that you can get with it. But as you can see, I had to cut holes for the shocks to fit through. All the parts will be in the description below. The kit and the idea for this truck came from Cine Moto. C-I-N-E Moto. Link in the description for his channel and Etsy page where you can get his parts for this there. But that's about it on the outside, other than the wheels and tires. We've got some RC 4-wheel drive Interco Super Swampers, and these things are nice and strong. They have so much grip, and the stiffness on them is perfect. They do pretty good crawling, but this thing doesn't really crawl because it's so large. Just for a comparison, we have the Jeep here. So the Jeep's actually smaller than the C10, but we're going to use it because we have it. So as you can see, just from looking at the backs of them, the truck looks way larger. You look at the front. The Jeep is actually really narrow, so that is one problem where the C10 is a little bit wider. But yeah, pretty big truck. It's a 4-door long bed dually. But yeah, so the tires are pretty good. This body really helps weigh it down. So the tires do super good in the dirt. They don't fill up bad, actually. So what I mean by that is they don't fill up with dirt. So, you know, just when you're spinning, sometimes some tires will fill up with mud, dirt, whatever. But these really aren't bad. I think it's because they're so stiff. And there's not much of a... Their tread isn't as deep. It's pretty shallow. So, but it's still a pretty aggressive tread. We are running stock foams in there. Running the Moforc RC dually adapter kit. The outside wheels are running brass rings. We are running the UPWs with the puller rings, like a lot of pulling trucks do. So truck and tractor pulls, whatever. Same in the front, we're running the UPWs with brass rings, but the only wheels that are different are actually the inside of the dually hubs. So these are just the DDPs. They're actually, I think they're the deep dish ones. Pretty sure. So that's what we have for wheels. We're running stock hexes or hubs. We're running aluminum hexes just for some strength, which you don't really need, but you can always get those for added strength. But the hubs we're running, so we're running the hubs that actually come in the kit, which is really nice. They are aluminum. You can get brass if you want for these, at least. I don't know about these, but yeah, so far we really like them. It was a little confusing getting the wheels together. Mofo does have a video on his page, but yeah, let's go ahead and get inside of the truck. So as you can see, it's velcroed on there. Got a piece of velcro here on the bed, and then one right here, just a little old piece right there. And then this chassis kit actually comes with the mount for the body. That's got your velcro on the top. But yeah, so for the inside of the body we had to do a little modding. So these pieces we just had to trim down just a little bit so it would fit around the chassis part of it. And then we had to cut right here because this just went straight across. So it wasn't a crazy amount of work done to the body. We still need to do a hitch to pull the trailer, but so far it's been good for us. Getting onto the chassis, we're running the Cine Moto Big Country chassis extension. You can get it in black or silver. It's more like a gray, but I don't think it really matters. I think the silver would probably be a little cooler. It would look more realistic, but I don't know. So the next thing we're going to look at the shocks. We're running the stock shock bodies and such. The only thing different on them is the springs. So we had some leftover Endura springs from their 43 double barrel shocks, 43 millimeters, and we actually just took their copper looking springs, the whole entire spring shoved in these little 32 millimeter shocks. And they give it a nice stiff suspension feel, which is good because this is a pretty heavy body, and when you're pulling you want a nice stiff suspension, one to pull up on your weight. It'll give you more of an advantage, and pulling up on your weight, it's going to push down on your vehicle and give you more traction. So having those stiff springs in the rear are really going to help. Also in the front we did the same exact thing. They're not cut or anything. That's going to help limit your bouncing. So when trying to grab traction, your wheels will sometimes bounce and you'll lose a lot of traction that way. And also this body is heavy, so with stock suspension it would sit down too low and it would rub really bad, but we fixed that with the suspension kind of. We still have a little bit of rubbing, but not much. We did trim the fenders out just a little bit, but we don't want to make them oversized. But shocks are all stock other than the springs. Moving on to the servo, most of the steering. We have a Emax Servo 12 gram, just the regular servo horn. All of this, the servo horn and the hot racing servo mount will be on Amainhobbies. I would prefer the Endura servo mount. You can get it on Amazon or the Endura website, but wherever you want to get it. And I'm sure a couple other places have some cheaper servo mounts. It is an aluminum one. And then we have some Mofo RC brass steering links, and they're super nice. They're really, with all the leverage of the chassis, it's putting a lot of weight up here, so you get a lot of leverage, so you're going to get a lot more traction. And with that, with the suspension so stiff in the rear, it's going to push up on that weight while pushing down on the truck. And then you've got the super long chassis, and just everything combined makes this thing a beast. The next thing about this truck that is awesome is we have a big block from Mofo RC. Pretty awesome motor. It seems a little slow, but it could be some binding issues with the transmission. We'll have to tear through that some, maybe. See if we can get it to go a little bit faster. Maybe the mesh is set too tight, but I really haven't heard any problems with it. But it is running 2S, so I don't know if maybe 3S is just superpower with it. But so far we really like it. It's got plenty of power. We've loaded it down a ton. We put an extra 570 grams on this, just like putting weights on it, and then pulling like a big old red brick, clay brick. And she kind of bogged down, but she tried. And the same with the buzzsaw that I have in the other C10. The tires wrinkled up a lot, and the weights just kept falling off of it when trying to, do whatever. But keep going with this build. So we are running, as you can see, the motors up front. We're running the forward-facing motor mount, which is awesome because it's such a big motor. It's got so much weight, it's going to push all the weight up front. As you can see, there's like nothing on the back, and then right about the midpoint, I think right here is around the midpoint, you got all that weight up here, and the leverage on this is just awesome. So we're running a metal Mias transmission because we didn't have a transmission, and we might as well just not buy a stock one and buy a metal one anyways. So it's really just the transmission case, and then you have the motor mount and all added onto it. All metal, hardened steel gears in it. So it should last a while with this big block in there, and if we ever run 3S or something somehow. But we are running the stock receiver, V1, ESC and transmitter, receiver or whatever. And it's actually just velcroed in. We've got the battery tray in the stock position right here, and we've got the tabs cut off with the ends of it. So the reason we did that was so we could get more space for it, so we could push the ESC up further, and we could push the battery farther back so that to give it enough room to clear the plug-ins right here, because that's where they're at. And it fit pretty good. It fits good with the body. It actually just, the way the shock holes are, it clicks into place. Velcro is really strong. I forgot to tell you, but the body's 2 pieces, already said, but it's held on. We just glued those pieces together. We slid the body together and glued it. So that's one thing I really do like about the body, is the 2-piece design, where you still have that realistic line between the cab and the bed, where the C10 and such, usually that would have it, but because of the type of body it is, it does not. So I think that'll be about it. The drive shaft you are going to have to do yourself. What you're going to do is you're going to take this drive shafts you get with your C10 or whatever chassis when you get it, stock. You'll have to take those spare drive shafts, and you'll have to build the drive shaft. It does come with this long tube to extend it, and then you'll have to use the balls out of the whatever you want to call them. Then you will have to use the joints, whatever, out of this stock links to put into these. It can be a little hard at times. Just be careful not to tear up the screw holes. But yeah, that's about it for the truck. Let's go ahead and get it outside and do some running. Alrighty, we've got her hooked up to the sled. We're gonna start off with 4. I know it'll do it, especially as heavy as it is. Get some of these leaves on out the way. We got our little track set up. It's been doing pretty good. Let's see how she does. Start off slow. No spinning whatsoever. The track looks really good. We did a little bit of cleaning up. I'm gonna get her back and put another weight in it. Alright, I've got her back. I've got 5 weights in it. 5 out of 6. Let's see how much spinning we get. Not many, I don't think. As you see, she did 5. No problem. Let's go ahead and put 6 in and see if she changed a little bit. Alright, there we go. 6 weights. Last weights. Then we're going to start adding some fishing weights. Ready, set, go. Starting off slow, see if we get any spinning. She spun a little bit. I can definitely tell she's a little bit slower, so that means she's spinning, or it could be the weight, but I don't know, not sure. If it's spinning, it's not much, but yeah. Let's go ahead and add all the fishing weights. We're just gonna send it and see how she does. All right, we've got all our fishing weights in here. We've got a 4 ounce and 2 3 ounces. Let's see how much worse it is. See how much she spins. There's a leaf under there. I definitely think it'll spin if it hits that. There you go. Oh, she's starting to spin. Let's just floor it and see what happens. She spins a little bit. But there we go. She still did pretty good. She was spinning. You can see some dirt on the wheels. So the weights, the washers themselves without the fishing weights are 570 grams. Counting the sled, I think it's about 600 almost grams. 3 ounce, or that one's a 4 ounce, 3 ounce, and 3 ounce. So plenty of weight it's pulling. Motor seems to be doing good, but that was full throttle on all those. Well, towards the end it was full throttle, so I don't know if it's a little slow, maybe because of 2S, but I'm not sure. Alright, so after plenty of driving, she's still doing good. Suspension seems to be pretty good. As stiff as it is, it's not very bouncy. But yeah, awesome tires. They're pretty small tires, but this truck makes them look a lot bigger. But yeah, turned out great. It's a great truck. She pulls awesome. This will be Goliath in the David versus Goliath competition that we're doing. If you haven't checked it out, check out the C10 overview. That one turned out pretty great, as little modifications as I did. The body and the chassis extension and the dually, I think, really helped this out. You're getting all that extra traction in the rear. You're getting all that extra leverage with the extended parts of it, and then the super duper heavy body sitting on top to make them tires work. And then you got the power plant, which is the Moforc RC big block, and that thing's just awesome. Plenty of torque, plenty of power. So yeah, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.